Welcome to Guided Abroad, where I bring you in on the intuitive downloads, bold decisions, and vulnerable moments that unfold when Spirit takes the lead. This is my personal story, but it could be yours too, because we all have the ability to receive and follow inner guidance. Hi, I'm Sarah. Before I packed a single bag, I cleared my energetic baggage. In this episode, I share how invisible work can ease your next big move, whether it's across the world or into your next chapter. I'm bringing you in on this important step now, before we go into the Sahara Desert, because it changes everything about what I need to accomplish there. Let's dive in.
Work in the invisible world at least as hard as you work in the visible. This is a Rumi quote that I stumbled across a few years ago. And when I did, I really felt seen, like really seen. I was like, this guy gets me. Because this quote really reflects how I have grown to approach my life, as well as my career and my work, which is that everything that we need to accomplish in the visible world, our 3D tangible world, has elements in it that we can work on in the invisible world in order to make those visible spaces move effortlessly and smoothly. The goal is to allow what is best for everyone involved to occur, meaning that people can see without judgment and false beliefs that are maybe clouding their perceptions, and thus make the quality decisions that they want to make. So it eases the way. A few months before this trip began, I was holding in my mind from my visions and guidance that I'd received that I would need to spend 12 to 18 months in Morocco in order to resolve the past life and ancestral challenges that have come forward. But in alignment with what we just heard in Rumi's statement, in those last few months before the trip began, I started to work on the invisible elements that would help ease the way. How I do this is to lean into any emotions that are building up around a topic in your normal life, right? So what are the tensions that you are feeling? And what these led me to is a small series of practitioner sessions that completely changed the direction of where this trip is going. I want to tell you a little bit about those sessions, and I'll play some clips as well so that you can get a small sense of what those were like, because they are so important to where we're going on this trip. The first thing that was worked on over and over again is heart and throat chakra clearing. You may already know, if you've been following me for a while, that I have been emerging into the world, being more vocal and more visible about this work in the invisible world. And that's possible partially because of the throat chakra clearing, my willingness to be able to speak my truth and to come forward and be visible in that way. The heart healing is really about the past wounds that I've been carrying and a sense of responsibility, over responsibility that I carry in this lifetime.
Our first two clips give you a glimpse into a session with psychologist and intuitive energy healer Mykal Harp as she assists me with letting go.
Bring in full clearing and balance within Sarah's throat chakra and her heart chakra.
I don't think we're there yet on the heart and throat.
It feels like this sense of responsibility that you have. There's no need to hold on to the idea that it's your responsibility. Can you set that burden down?
I don't think I can quite yet. Emotionally, I don't think I'm quite there.
I want you to imagine holding all these weights. Can you just drop the weights? Can you just let the shackles come off your wrists? Ask those shackles around your ankles to just fall away. Can you put down the heavy backpack that you're carrying?
Yes.
Breathe that in. Breathe in how much lighter you can feel. Sarah, you're holding onto something.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in the heart.
What's it look like?
It's like deep red chewing gum, smeared. Like a kid rubbed it under the desk.
I'm going to ask an ice dragon to come in. I'm going to ask that ice dragon to freeze that gum, that sticky stuff that's all smeared. Freeze it so that it can just pop right off and be released. What would happen?
That does it. We just need some integration.
Alright, they're giving me some stuff here.
We also visited several past lives and ancestral traumas. Those were really hard to visit. The one that stuck with me the most is a battleground scene when, in very ancient times, we're very far back, I have ancestors from my mother's side and my father's side that were both battling each other for land and territorial rights in the Sahara Desert in Morocco. And I, almost like you would imagine a movie, you know, sometimes a movie scene, you have somebody who's been inserted into the scene who is watching the action around but not being affected by it. This was my experience. I was inserted into that battlefield scene. I could see all the weapons, all of the bodies. I could feel the agony and the regret of those still alive, and the impact then that had on the generations to come.
I want to go to the root situation that caused this fear from a soul perspective, this fear of abandonment. Going back there now.
I feel more emotion and a little bit like vomiting.
Just observe the emotion. We don't even need a scenario. We can just observe an emotion and how it shifts and changes.
I'm seeing a massacre now. This whole town is just getting slaughtered.
And where are you in the storyline?
I'm inserted into the scene. I'm an observer, but these are my people.
So let's go to the pinnacle. Let's understand what it is that she needs to witness and or feel to completely transform, transmute.
What's coming forward right now is outrage, which to me doesn't fit with the rest of what we've been doing.
It's okay, just feel it.
I'm outraged at the slaughter that I'm seeing. I'm outraged that this has to happen, or that it didn't have to happen, and it is happening, and it was all preventable, and now I'll be all alone.
There's your abandonment.
It seems like I had connection to both sides, and that my returning is, I'm the place where it gets to heal, where those two come together, because my DNA is the blend of the two lineages.
It's a lot of what I was feeling too, that you're actually doing the land healing, generational healing, even without having to be there. What you're doing right now is actually doing a lot of what you could be doing when you're there.
Yeah.
So returning to those experiences and working to heal them, removing that trauma. And then also we did a lot of work on aspects, personality aspects, soul shards, parallel timelines, the types of fracturing that occurs when there's trauma. These are things where your personality creates a protector element, or creates a wounded child element, or an overlay steps in and changes your belief system and your perceptions of what's going on around you. In this clip, I recap a familiar past life and new insights into the karma I've carried from it.
That took me to a past life
where there was a forbidden love relationship between my father, who was in the royal household, and my mother, who was of lowly stature, that produced a pregnancy. And the new information I received this time was that something I said or that I didn't say, a misunderstanding or something about my verbal communication, is what outed them, that relationship, and got us outcast and in a very unsafe place with no food, no support, no resources. So Mother and I are outcast on the edge of the kingdom, and we're hiding, trying not to be discovered in a shack, waiting for Dad, who is in part of the royal household, to come to us, not really knowing if he's going to or not. And I feel responsible because my words expose the people I love and the people who love me. And look, I'm crying about it, and it's not even this lifetime, and I still feel it so deeply. So this is the karma that I've carried, that I need to solve.
There's a lot of different ways that these things can show up in your ongoing life, in addition to the habits and patterns that you adopt to manage what you've experienced.
In this last clip, I seek confirmation that karma has been cleared and receive channeled guidance.
Does the process that we've done today release me of that karma? What I'm receiving is, it is one thing to clear the energetic echo of this traumatic experience. It is another thing to change your behavior. The behavior has been well worn into the grooves of your life. So you can disconnect or eliminate, turn off the echo, the energetic echo and the energetic ties from the prior life. But there's also the groove that exists in this life, that exists separate as a result of, yes, but separate. And it remains just as substantial and just as strong in this moment as it did prior to the clearing that you did. So an analogy, if you had, because of something in a past life, a compulsion to eat chocolate, and therefore you have joined a delivery service that brings you a chocolate bar every day, you can clear energetically and through karma work, you can clear the impulse that's an echo from those prior lifetimes, but the delivery service is still delivering. So the chocolate is still in your hand, even though the compulsion has been removed. So now the work is to change the behavior and change the systems that support and reinforce the behavior in your day-to-day life. In some ways, this is even harder.
Finally, we did a land healing on that land in Morocco that was soaked in the blood of my ancestors. And that land healing was the planting of what turned out to be a beautiful olive tree. And that olive tree, as it turned to grow and grew into its wholeness, would restore and nourish the land. So all of this is happening in the energetic field. I'm doing all of this from Raleigh, North Carolina, where I was located. And when we were done with all of these different interventions, 80% of the work that needed to be done was already complete before I even landed here. And I tell you this story because this working in the invisible world, as much as you work in the visible world, is applicable to anything that you're doing. It might be a healing trip like this that you're called to. It could be your business's next launch. It could be a big family event. All of these things that involve personalities and people that have to coordinate together, and a lot of action and behaviors that need to show up all at once, are moments where you can be clearing in the energetic fields and in the spiritual fields, clearing the way so that the most easeful outcome can occur with the least effort when the big moment arrives. Another thing that came out during this period as I was doing all this work is the guide said to me, don't try to imagine what it will be like. This limits the possibilities. I feel like this is really powerful guidance and feels a little contradictory, because we often think, well, maybe I'll imagine all the possible outcomes and then I can kind of process and think about what I would do. But in this case, they're saying just don't even imagine them, because you're limiting the possibilities. Everything that you could possibly imagine is based in your past experiences or your past understanding. And we may have something to offer you, something being designed for you that's outside of that scope. So as you go about your days this week, think about those places where you could be preparing in the invisible world. And by preparing in the invisible world, what you're doing is you're not trying to control the future. You're trying to take action now with what you have available to you now, knowing that the future will take care of itself in the best way possible because of the work that you've done.
You've been listening to Guided Abroad with me, Sarah Cook, where spirit and intuition lead the way. Did something in today's episode spark your curiosity or resonate deeply? I'd love to hear about it. And your story or question might even shape a future episode. And subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. I can't wait to update you next week about my trip into the Sahara. You know, it's easy to feel alone on the spiritual journey. I'm so glad that we have each other. Thanks for being here.